Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom from all of us. And now, would you like to share with us impressions? Do you have questions before we start, before we dive in? Good afternoon to Victoria on YouTube. I hope you're here. Ruth and Venus and Michelle. Questions so far? Or things that you'd like to share before we start? Or any impression that you have?
Nothing from me at this moment.
Okay. Jeff?
I'm just interested to get into whatever text or painting you want to talk about.
Okay, thank you. And good afternoon, Victoria. Victoria here is on YouTube. Thank you.
Shalom, Victoria.
Felipe Fernando, would you like to share something before we start?
I'm ready to follow you, Eti.
Okay, so we shall pop into the whiteboard. Just please let me know who has an access to the whiteboard, because there's a painting and there's a text. So Felipe and Fernando here, so you have access to the text and to the painting. And Philip and Jeff, what do you have access to? Jeff, I see you also. You also here?
I'm watching through YouTube.
Okay, so this is about Genesis 30 and the term "let it be" in English, but what does it mean in Hebrew? What is the source of "let it be"? And what would you like to start with? There's a painting, there's a text, there's one verse which I'm aiming, but of course you can read everything and you can ask about everything, not just about this text and not just about this painting. This is just a jumping board. So what would you like to start with? It's a free choice. Ruth is here. Good morning, Ruth. Yes. Who would like to start? To choose, to read? Feel free. Felipe, what is your choice this morning? What would you like to start with?
It's like today it's in the Christian tradition, it's what we call Holy Week.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to share that I am thinking about this Exodus, this Passover, and that they both are together in this year. It's really amazing, because it's like a year of people can travel, and you were saying that there is a lot of people coming to Israel to celebrate.
Yes.
And after all this pandemic era,
mm-hmm.
It's just that I feel in the mood of the Passover. And yesterday I heard a podcast Fernando published. It was really, really beautiful also. So I'm just to say it that I'm in this mood, and I wanted to say this. If you like, we could start with the text.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your impressions, Felipe. Thank you so much. So, who would like to start? There are 3 parts of the text here. It's 1 chapter, 3 parts. I would like to focus on 34. What does it mean, let it be? I mean, we say in English, let it be. The Beatles are singing, let it be. What is the origin of the text? But a part of it, would you like to start reading just to have a flow of the text? Just to see what we are speaking about here? What is the source of let it be?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. So, Philip, would you like to start reading? Do you have? I will try to.
I can.
Just let me know if the text is clear, if the letters are seeing well also on YouTube.
Yeah, that's fine, thank you. Did you say you wanted up to 32?
We should, yes, the focus, I would like to focus, yes, on 34, but yes, let's start reading the, okay, there's a, okay, 1 second.
And it came to pass.
Yes, okay, I'll focus it. Thank you. Yes.
When Rachel had born Joseph, sorry, it's moving on my screen at the moment.
1 second. Yes. Is it better? I mean, on YouTube, do you see verse 25 clear, or shall I?
It's clear.
Not much. I'll see how does it reflect. You have another screen here, because I have few screens.
If you could maybe shuffle it down, just there. Yeah, beautiful, perfect.
This is good.
That's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for
That
reflecting.
Jacob said, no, definitely, unto Laban, send me away that I may go unto mine own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service wherewith I have served thee, and loved unto him. If now I have found favour in thine eyes, I have observed the signs, and the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. This is very, very old English. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle have fared with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it hath increased abundantly. And the Lord hath blessed thee whithersoever I turned. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? As a question, sorry. And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me aught. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed thy flock and keep it. If you could shuffle it up just a little, please, Eddie.
Yes, yes, yes.
I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence every speckled and spotted one, and every dark one among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. And of such shall be my hire, I think it says. I'm just waiting for it to scroll.
1 second. Do you see this clearly, the text? Is it good?
I do now. Yes. Up to 34, or would you just like to do the all of it straight away?
After 34.
Yep. So shall my righteousness witness against me hereafter, when thou shalt come to look over my hire that is before thee, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and dark among the sheep, that if found with me shall be counted stolen. And Laban said, behold, would it might be according to thy word.
Thank you. Thank you so much. When we look at this text, what is the frame? What is happening here so far? What was the first verse? And how does this text remind us of the discussion of Moses and Pharaoh? Let us look. Can you read, please, again, verse 25?
Yes?
It is clear. Oh, shall I make it bigger? Yes. Let's read.
I'm just waiting for it to scroll.
Okay. Okay.
25, you said yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see the text?
And it's getting there, sorry.
I'm not sure that it
There we
is
go.
Is it reflecting a main code?
25.
Yes.
It's good now, yes. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said, oh, sorry, there's some changes going on.
Because there's a delay, this is why.
Just down that little touch, sorry, it's missing the top line.
So shall I roll it down?
Just a touch, please.
Yes. It's okay now, or do you see the text?
I should be able to make that out, yes. Oh, there we go. Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may be unto mine own place and to my country.
Thank you so much. So what
That's
is
all
this? What is the frame of the chapter? What is happening here?
To leave the parents' house, maybe?
To leave the parents' house. Yes. And what gives the Jacob the courage to leave the parents' house? What gives him the power or the courage? Yes, who spoke? I did not hear.
Joseph.
The birth.
Right? The
Yes, yes.
Birth of Joseph.
Yes, yes. And there is a discussion here between Laban and Jacob. Does it remind you, this conversation between Laban and Jacob reminds you a later conversation from the book of Exodus? What is happening? What? Yes?
Like you said, just now that you said, it makes me remember the discussion on Moses and the Pharaoh, because it is like a negotiation to leave, to set the people free.
Yes, yes, this is it. Set the people free. Give me my wives and my children. This is how the speech, this is how Moses later speak in Exodus to Pharaoh. We shall go with our youths and with our cattle and with our camels, in our eldest and our youngest we shall live. This is the text. This is the text of the Exodus. This is it. This is the core. This is where the Exodus starts. Yes. Yes. And questions before we focus on one term from 34? Questions so far? Victoria, Ruth, questions? Jeff?
No questions so far.
Lavan says to Jacob in verse 34, everything will happen according to your word. In Hebrew, Chris, we have, Tunisia is here. Hello, hello. So shall it be as you say. The Hebrew says, Lu Yehi. Lu, 1 second, I make it with the same pen. Second, because this is quite sick. Lu Yehi, let it be. Lu Yehi, let it be. Seemingly Laban agrees to Jacob's words, and he says, Lu Yehi, let it be as you say. But a part of what is gonna happen, because Laban will cheat again, let's look into the value of Lu Yehi. Lu, Lamed Vav, Lamed 30, Vav is 6, together this is 36, and Yehi is 25. 25 plus 36, 61. 61 is the value of Ain, nothing. Ain, or, Fernando, Ain is parallel to what? When we speak about Ain or nothing,
We think about Keter or Ein
Ket-
Sof.
Ein Sof, infinity. Ein Sof, Keter. So when we say in English now, let it be, what do we mean according to the Hebrew?
To the nothingness.
To the nothingness, to the infinite, both at the same time. When we say in English, let it be, this is what we mean. Questions so far?
I have two questions, but one question, but just one coincidence that I just looked at. That maybe it's interesting. Once you said that it's not related. Okay, so I just
Everything is open for
apologize.
now.
Once you said that meat is like a message because it's basar, right? So we can relate meat to message. And I was reading here that Lu Yehi Kidavareha, right? And Kidavar is like a word, right?
Yes,
Kidavar, like a word.
Yes.
And in Portuguese and Latin, cadaver is
Okay.
dead body, you know. And it's interesting because cadaver it's a dead body. It's like a word. It's
Oh,
not living word,
so
you know.
can you spell it for me in Portuguese? What are the letters?
It's CADAVR.
Cadaver.
Yes.
Oh, it's like speaking.
It's like speaking, but it's a dead body. But
It's-
the dead body speaks, right?
Yes.
It is like speaking because it has a lot of marks and everything. So
Yes.
it is like speaking. So just
Like-
came this idea.
Thank you.
Came to my mind.
Like speaking.
And yes, it's interesting, very interesting what came here. Oh, like a word, maybe.
Like a word.
Okay.
Okay, like a word. Yes.
And the second thing that came to me, it's also related with bodies, because some weeks ago I think last week we spoke about the disease of the body, you know.
Yes.
We speak about the leprosy.
Yes.
And Luria, Ravizak Luria speaks about the importance of make a quarantine.
Yes. Yes.
To go out to the tribe and to stay like alone to make this cleanancy, you know,
Yes.
because the cause of the disease is the ambient, usually, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
the family and the tribe and the thoughts, everything that circulates around the people. So to heal somebody, it's important to go to an hospital or to go to another place without this influence. So I'm just relating this asking, you know, to leave the house, to leave the father's house and to leave Egypt, the importance to move on.
Yes. Yes. To move on with the spirit. Yes. Not to cleave to people, to physical bodies. To leave the domain of influence like physical bodies, people that we know, people that we're familiar, tribe, families, to move on in life, not to get stuck because this is what there is, this is the circumstances, and so on. This is in the text of the Haggadah. In this Friday evening, we're going to read the Haggadah. And the text of the Haggadah even makes, equivalence between Laban and Pharaoh. Who is worse? And the text says that Laban is worse than Pharaoh. Why? Pharaoh wanted to kill the boys, meaning the masculine, only the soul aspect. But Laban wanted to kill all, the soul and the body. So Laban, according to the Haggadah text, this Exodus that we will read, Laban is worse than Pharaoh. Because Laban says, maybe not in this text, he says, the daughters are my daughters and the sons are my sons. Nothing is yours. They're not even your wives. They are my daughters. After he married them, after he worked for them, he says, those are my daughters. So Laban is worse than Pharaoh. And leaving Egypt is living, in a way, physical relatives and to move with the spirit. Okay, this is where we grew up as children. This is what supported us, the first stages of life. But this is the meaning of Passover, to remove from this influence. This is the meaning of freedom. I mean, the influence that helps baby grow safely is dangerous for adult. Do you understand? What is good for baby, like safe surroundings, things are not moving, like repeating. This is very good, a good ground for children habits, and so is very bad for the spirit. Questions so far or impressions?
What sort of picture do we have accompanying this text today?
Again, I did not hear.
What kind of picture do we have?
Yes,
with
I'm
this
moving.
text
I'm
today?
moving to this is a painting. This is a Spanish painter from the 17th century, Jacob and Rachel. This is an unknown painter from Google Museum. And please describe us, what do we see here? The first impression, and maybe more if you have. I would like to hear. Also, Victoria, Ruth, Tunisia on YouTube. What do
Someone else might have to. My screen's still loading.
Okay. Jeff, Fernando, Felipe, what do we see in the painting? What is the proportions that we have here?
Maybe it is the love between Jacob and Rachel.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And we can see it's beautiful because we can see like a conjunction, the marriage between the masculine and the feminine, and we can see the peace and the herd of flocks, like the abundance that comes from this marriage between the masculine and the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
We can see it, if we think that Jacob is Tiferet,
Mm-hmm.
we can think that Rachel is Malchut, which this is why we see this peace in the world, because It's like Shekhinah and her husband together.
Mhm.
You know? I know that I'm not describing the material idea, but we can see like the two columns and the two arms as connecting these two different columns on the tree of life. This is what came to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeff, Philip, Felipe, Victoria, Tunisia, Ruth. What do we see? Did you notice what is the relation of their knees to the ground? Do they stand? What is happening?
Their figure resembles as a heart,
Yes.
like
Yes.
when we say it's like symmetric relations.
Yes.
It's perfectly balanced,
Mm-hmm.
and they are in their knees, and they are in their knees, and in the as we were talking about latest session, it's like a symbol of mercy, and they are bounding to each other, but in a way, I guess they are bounding to the eternal,
Mm-hmm.
and they are next to the well in the left
Mm-hmm. Here.
part
Yeah.
of the picture. It's
Yeah.
the feminine, and also Jacob is in the left and Rachel's in the right, so they are like crossing for the masculine. Usually is on the right, but in this moment they are crossing, they are like changing polarity
Mm-hmm.
or something like this. I don't know. But it's interesting the well, right?
Yes.
The water in the left side as well.
The water. They meet in time. The well. Yes. They're meeting in time.
It came to me that it's like the first time they met each other, because they are in the well,
Mm-hmm.
and if I remember well, Jacob asks permission to give Rachel a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's correct, because I may be messing up with the stories.
He kissed her and he cried. He kissed her and he cried when kissing her. Yes. Philip, Jeff, would you like to add something?
I would just, since they're kneeling, it gives the impression of a prayer posture,
Mm-hmm.
you know, maybe
Mhm.
like an answered prayer that they're both experiencing.
Mm-hmm. There is a space between them. Only, I mean, I ask myself, where do they meet? Their knees are touching. Yes. There's
Mhm.
a lot of air between them.
Yes. And you see a red cloak, and you see she's got a cloak too, but kind of a blue outfit perhaps, so he's wearing a white outfit. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of that spectrum of those three colors again.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the coats as well, Jeff, like the red coat and the golden coat, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Cape.
Yeah.
And I was making some gematria here. I
Yes.
was thinking that Jacob uses a red cape, right? Like, and red is is Dameti, maybe?
Yeah, Adom, you mean red is Adom?
Adom, yes.
Adom. Adom is red. Yes.
And the other one is golden, right?
Yes.
Mushav, maybe.
Mushav. Mushav. Golden. Yes.
And if we add these two, we get 105, right? So it is like Yod and Hey. It is the marriage between the.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Adom. Adom with Vav. Yes, you took it with Vav. Yes. Fernando. Hello.
It was without Vav.
Without Vav. Okay. Just this is 45. Yes. And
Yes.
here we have 14 plus this is 54. 1 second. Mushav, this is 7 plus 47. Yes. This is Mushav is 54. 1 second. Mushav. Okay. I understand.
Mushav is 60, I think.
Mushav is
I put the Vav in Mushav. You know?
Okay, so the Vav of Adom came
Sorry.
in. Very good,
Yeah.
very good. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Mushav you put here? Like
Yeah,
this?
they put that.
Very
Yes,
good,
but-
very good, very good. So this is 46. Yes, very good. Very good, 46. Thank you. And there's interesting relations also between their names. Yaakov, Jacob is 182. Rachel, Rachel is 238. Together they make 420 or 42. 42, it is basically 766. Or in letters, Membet, Maaseh Bereshit. The act or the deed of creation. Maaseh Bereshit. The relation between them is like a new creation, Maaseh Bereshit. Thank you, Jeff.
A new creation. Yeah.
Yes, a new creation, yes.
Yeah, it's more than just I guess leaving the old. It's encountering the new, like a new creation, like you said.
Yes. Yes. In a way, Jacob is this. I would like to write it here on the picture. He is like 7 times tetragrammaton. 7 times tetragrammaton is 182. So he holds the 7s here. And Rachel, in a way, is like the 6. And the relation between them is like the 7 days. I mean, the resting day and the 6th day of like creation. So it is embedded. It is embedded code. He cannot help it. It is stronger than him. It is in the structure. The sages are saying something very interesting about Rachel, because in the Hebrew alphabet there are 22 letters. 1 second, I'll move and I'll write what Sefer Yetzirah writes about the name Rachel. In the Hebrew alphabet there are 22 Hebrew letters. From those 22, we can create Rala She'arim, like 231 gates, because we can combine every letter, let's say Aleph and Bet. This is the basis unit, but we can also create this Bet and Aleph. So we can create from the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet 231 combinations of letters, plus the 7 days of creation. We create 238, and this is the name Rachel. So the name Rachel, in a way, the name and its value in Hebrew contains all the permutations. Jeff, did I say the word right in English? Yes, all the combinations possible. This is why, in a way, Jacob cannot hold it. He just loves her. It's the spirit of Jacob which is asking to be spoken through the letters, through the Hebrew letters. The voice of Jacob, the voice of the heart, in each and every one of us is wished to be spoken through the name Rachel, because the name Rachel expresses all possible expressions of the Hebrew letters.
So there's no limit to the access of expression then.
Yes.
It's all there, so the voice can be expressed. In other words, whatever it is, whatever is wishing to be expressed, it can be expressed. That's what we're saying here, right?
Yes. In each and every one of us, we don't speak now about historical figures.
Right.
Yes. In each and every one of us, there is Jacob and there is Rachel. The Rachel is the speech as we take it outside of our mouths. The speech, which has body. When we speak a word and it goes from our lips to the space of the world, the word has a body, like meat, like flesh. It is an entity, like a baby, when we speak word outside of the mouth. And the spirit of our heart loves or wishes, in a way, because the spirit of the heart is so inner and is so secret and most hidden, because also ourselves do not know what is stored in our heart. We are wishing that the secrets which are stored in our heart will be revealed even to ourselves. And this is basically the love of Jacob to Rachel. The voice of Jacob is the voice of the heart. Kol Yaakov. This is what the father says, the voice of Jacob. Kol Yaakov. Jacob is 182. Kol 136. Together, the voice of Jacob is 318. The voice of Jacob,
right,
like the value of conversation.
Tiyak, yes.
Yes. So the conversations that we have in the heart which is stored in the heart, yes, as a secret,
Yes.
would like to be
Would like.
expressed,
Yes.
yes, by the letters, by Rachel. This is why, in a way, the relationship between Jacob and Rachel is not, how do you say, romantic, historic relation. It's our embedded code. The voice of Jacob in us, the voice of the heart, would like to be spoken. This is why the structure here is imminent. How many times we feel something in the heart or in the mind, we have a thought, but sometimes we don't manage to express it, not to another person, even to ourselves, even to write it as a sentence, even to say it to ourselves in the mind or in the heart, because it's not processed, it's not complete. So this process inside of us, when we try to form a sentence, understanding, to refine what we feel, is considered to be the relation of Jacob to Leah. Again, inside of us. We don't speak now about external people, but everything is happening in one person. Yes, Jeff?
Well, it caused me to think about that inner peace that happens when it can be expressed. You know, once that longing of the heart and what it wants to speak and what it wants to say is given the conversation, the opportunity to do it, then there's this peace, because inwardly, you know, it can be just like a pot with a lid on it, and it, you know, it wants to blow off or something if it's stored. The fire underneath it is going too long, stored. But to be able to have that blessing of expression is when peace comes, because it's like I've got to
It's a good release.
Get this out, you know, or something. Right?
You know
that makes sense?
that the value of peace is the value of Esau. And Esau, yes, this is interesting. And the head of Esau is holy, peace is holy. Yes, yes. Yes, to be
I got what you meant by the pot there.
Yes, Philip?
I just understood what he meant by the pot there. That release of compression that was built up gives you a good sense once it happens.
Yeah, and I know you're talking, Eddie, about an inward process that's happening in everybody. And I think there are a variety of ways, though, to let that expression happen. It could be with a very deep, good friend, where you have a conversation and finally you can talk about things that you couldn't talk about with anybody.
Yes.
You know, I find people do this with pastors a lot. They all of a sudden they've found somebody they feel they can talk to, and they tell a lot of things they haven't told anybody. Or it might be just with the Lord, you know. And this is a great thing, you know. It's what we've been talking about with Passover, Saturday, and so on. It might be getting down on your knees in prayer, in a closet, or out in nature, private, and just talking to the Lord, you know. Somebody was saying to me one day that they picture the Lord sitting on the couch and they just talk to him, things like that to really get your heart clean.
Hmm.
Or in another respect, it might be that painting you're wanting to paint, or that that poem you want to write. You got
Yes.
to get that thing out,
Yes.
and then doing it makes a happiness in the heart that you're
Yes.
finally doing it. And then there's that peace. Yeah, I relate completely to what you're saying here, Eddie. I think, you know, you're doing exactly that for the people that come into the class, and it's happening for you too. Um, you're giving a place for people's hearts to come to peace, to connect with the letters, the communication, the expression.
Because this is interesting, Jeff, because when there's ability to speak, there's ability to create.
A, a person might be being held back by shyness or fear
Yes,
or
yeah, yes. Or
rejection on some level.
yes, and sometimes people spend, not that they wish to, but they spend too much time in, let's say, in places or in positions that put them down, and they like humble servants at work or in certain relations. They just keep silence and obedience and just observe, how do you say, take in all kinds of relations, and just they keep themselves humble and lower their head. But inside, there are like boiling pots, like you say, percolating inside. And once
Yeah,
they
and once what?
once they speak, they first of all realize before they speak to another person, once they let their heart open and speak, they notice what they store inside, what is stored inside.
Yeah, and some people it's things like they finally get to sing.
Yes.
I've heard testimonies from different singers, like nobody thought they were any good or didn't encourage them or whatever, but all of a sudden they're like this. They find a venue where they can sing freely, and it's just they're so good. It just amazes everybody, even themselves. It amazes them their own self,
Yes.
especially
Yes, because they put it.
because they were told a different story all
Yes.
their life.
Yes.
In that
Now
sense,
yeah, go
um,
ahead, Philip.
I was just gonna put a little 2 cents. If you want to finish off yours,
No, that's good, Philip. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, nice, nice. In that sense, it's even good to have hobbies to help you train yourself. You got a repetitiveness going on, and you get to find out what abilities you might have, and you get to train those. In the same sense, you even find your downsides. You know what to. I don't really want to say avoid, but you know where your perks are, and etc. And it gives you the chance to actually put to use and strengthen abilities.
Yeah. To see people flourish
Yes.
with these gifts and abilities that God has given them
Yes.
is it not only blesses the person doing it, but it blesses the people seeing it done through them. You know
That's
Yes.
right.
how wonderful they can do something. You know.
This is it. We were not created to be like to sit in the darkness and to sit in the void, but we were created as like friends of the divinity. We can speak. We have the divine ability to speak, and we are expected to speak and to realize things. Like you say, talents, abilities. And this beautiful conversation in a way is supposed to show us that there is a way to speak, because we are afraid. We kept it. It doesn't matter where we grew up, or we I don't know. We are like just how do you say? We are educated to be little, to be children of the moon. This is what we are educated, which is to be good civilians and so to help. But the intention of creation is that we shall be the friends of the sun, the friends of the soul. And to be a friend of the soul is to realize the potential of the soul in us, because since the soul is in relation with the body always shadows on the soul and hides the light of the soul. So in the process of growing up, we understand that the power of the soul is limitless, and we would like to stream more of these limitless powers into our lives. And this is what we are trying to do in those conversations, to show us that we are capable of growing, of changing things. If we grew in a certain place, in a certain pattern, okay, this is what we were given, but there's a way to go, and we would like to go.
I appreciate what you say about the limitless resource that the soul brings
Yes.
forward.
It is always there. It is always there. Always. It's hovering. The soul is hovering above us.
You know, as Jacob leaves, or as Moses leaves with his people. Excuse me. Once they, it seems like everything is so regimented and controlled, like Laban. He's got control. He's the micromanager in the family. Everything is his. It's never Jacob's. And he wants to know everything that's going to happen is going on, and how long are you going to work for me, and all of this. And then Pharaoh too, and the whole thing in Egypt is, okay, you don't have enough to do, obviously, so we need to have you gather your own straw and still make the quota of bricks, and so there's this management, over the people, and the people of God over the soul. And but once they get out from the micromanagement, once they get out into the freedom, voila, look, there's all the mana's there. Be creative. Gather a lot, or gather a little. It's the resources are there. It's from God. It's from the soul He puts in you. All of a sudden, they're making a new connection. They're not just bodies. They're not just bricklayers.
Yes, yes.
They're able to experience divine provision.
Yes.
And see it, not just, when you're under the thumb, it's really hard to sense God, that He's even alive or that He's not sleeping. But to get out there with a real connection now without that overseer, so to speak, that taskmaster, that whip carrying foreman, now to let your expression be expressed. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Fernando, Felipe, would you like to say something?
I'm listening at you, what you and Jeff are saying, and it's beautiful. I just couldn't agree more. It's just, I'm just listening.
Thank you.
You talked about the Beatles a little bit, and there's a kind of a documentary or something that my music friends were telling me about, and basically it just shows the Beatles sitting around coming up with a song on the spot without any direction. Did you see that, Philip? Or somebody?
No, I haven't seen that one.
But
yeah, yes,
but
Jeff,
basically, yeah, Fernando.
Yes, I watched it, and Felipe, I think that watched it as well, and what you said is very precise. It is interesting that it is like just four friends goofing around, they are playing and
Yeah.
having a good time, just making jokes and and out of nothing came songs like the long and winding road,
Yeah.
it it comes there, and when you watch this documentary, you think how can it be possible,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But it is just like these classes, we are talking, and time to time came a jam that you think, how can it be possible, where did this came from,
Yeah. Yes, it's between the friendship is a vessel. The friendship between people is a vessel. It's like a nest. And like you mentioned with the Beatles, there's like the friendship and they just being together. And suddenly it comes, like the Shekhinah. We speak about the Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit. It comes. It's pleasant to be. So the Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, finds a place, a nest to rest, and it comes, and there's a song, and there's a painting, and there's a new idea, there's a new project. It's nice to dwell in such a beautiful place. It's the friendship that creates everything.
Yeah, and it's not to be afraid of the diversity of the friends that coming together, because that diversity of the friends is what brings in all these ingredients that one person alone doesn't have. Yeah. But to allow those ingredients to come out and make something new, never before seen.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Fernando. Felipe, questions so far?
No, just to point out that it's interesting you mentioned the start of our session as the origin of Let It Be.
Yes.
And I guess we come across this and we find that this the siach, and I remember the word, if I'm not wrong, shmecha.
Yes.
It's like happiness, right?
Yes. Shmecha.
Shmecha.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit comes when we are happy, when we are in these moments of great joy and with happy heart and like naive happiness. I mean,
Yes.
you know, when those friends, this documentary of the Beatles, it's so amazing because it's like a big brother, you know, of the
Yes.
Beatles. It's several hours of them just playing around and also in arguing, and so, and it's not it isn't only flowers, but there is real connection, and there is real happiness and joy in being together. And yes, I think several times in our sessions here we feel the presence of this happiness, this Holy Spirit, and it's very often it's like undescribable what we feel and the things we can grasp if we are connected, and we are not always connected, right? So I guess we have to try hard to be connected with the one. This is really really beautiful when we can achieve.
Yes. The name, thank you, Felipe. The name Shekhinah, the Holy Spirit, comes from Shechen, like to dwell, but also neighbor, because the Holy Spirit is a neighbor, like neighborly relation of friendly, and the quality of the Spirit is that the Spirit likes to be with another one. The Spirit wants to have friends, like Chevron. Fernando, we were mentioning the structure of Chevron, being friends. The Holy Spirit likes to gather in a good vibe, in happiness, in joy. This is it. This is why the Holy Spirit in Hebrew is Shekhinah. Shekhinah from Shochen, to dwell, but also from Shechen, like a neighbor. She is a neighbor of the body. The Holy Spirit, the Shekhinah, is a neighbor to the body. And like we like to receive neighbors, which are coming to visit, the Holy Spirit is like a neighbor. We make a nice nest, like a nice house, and like nice feelings, and we are enlarging our vessels. We receive to listen to others, and then the holiness comes. The neighbor comes because it's pleasant to be here.
I'll even add as well how Eddie said earlier, it's our it's necessary for us to be talking and expressing. To suppress doing any of that from yourself is also a choice of how you're letting it be.
Yes, it's very interesting what you say, Philip, because when we suppress those feelings in the heart, it's like Cain killing Abel. Cain and Abel are not historical figures. There are motives inside of us. If we suppress those soft parts in us, this soft speech, sentiment, we suppress it, it's like Cain in us kills Abel within us. It's good to, if we can, during the course of the day, to notice whenever there's Cain comes to kill Abel. Questions or impressions so far? Shalom, Scott. We have a new friend on YouTube, Scott.
E.T.,
Yes.
about this let it be.
Yes.
Lu, he,
Yes.
cadever. Could you put in the text, please?
Yes,
It's
yes,
like
34. Here, 1 second, I'll bring a pen. Yes?
here it is. Lu, yehi, devereha.
Yes.
It's interesting because the last word, kidevereha,
Yes.
we can take two words from here, like the three last letters. There is a bless, barach, baruch,
Yes.
and kaf and dalet we can think as like a jar, or maybe
Yes, a jar.
a jar, right?
Yes.
So we have the vessel and the blessing here in this word. Was just looking this.
That's correct. That's correct, Fernando. And that's beautiful. Questions so far?
No questions from me, thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Jeff? Questions?
I think it's very good conversation. Very good look at the words, the letters, and the implications. So I appreciate what you've helped us to do today.
Thank you so much.
I can see you have a few more verses there as well.
There are a few more verses, yes. This is a story for itself. The next verse is how Laban says, "It shall be as you say," but he does something completely else. It just opposites everything. This is a story for itself. From 34 and on, because it goes very deep inside of us. This is not just a relation between the sheep and how the way they look. The sheep, they have dots or spots or marks. It's everything inside of us. So for this we shall have to to make another preparation, because it's very, very deep. This. Who is Laban in us? How do we find Laban in us? How do we find Jacob in us? What is the meaning of the which have dots, spots, marks, and so in us? What is this agreement between Laban and Jacob in us? This is so many levels of conversations from the next few verses, and we need to prepare it. So, but thank you for asking, Philip. Thank you for asking.
Understood. All good.
Yes, Philip? I could not hear you. Your microphone is open. I'm sorry.
You couldn't hear me, was that? Sorry, it jumped a little bit just then.
I just missed one sentence. Can you repeat for all of us?
Not sure what I said. It was just a reaction, I'm pretty sure. I wasn't commenting or anything.
Okay.
I did catch what you said, though. That's all good as well.
Good. Because all of those names are inside of a different aspect. Laban, Jacob, Rachel, Leah. All of those are aspect inside of us. So thank you everyone for joining us today for a beautiful conversation to open the week before Easter or Passover. We shall have 3 more meetings this week, and then we shall have a little vacation, about 7 days or more, and we shall return on the 25th, I believe. So I would like to wish you a beautiful season, beautiful holidays, and a lot of love, and we can meet here tomorrow.
Man, thank you so much for the
Thank you.
class. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everybody.
See you
Have a lovely
tomorrow.
week. Bye-bye.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.